Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as we plant some sedum. So let's go. Some people call them stonecrop, other people call them sedum. They're usually one and the same thing. And there are so many different kinds. There are ones that bloom earlier in the season. Typically, those are the ones that you would find tucked in a rock wall or towards the very front of a flower border. But then there are the taller, bigger ones, and those ones typically bloom in the late summer, early fall months. If you don't have sedum in your landscape, I highly recommend it. It's so beautiful. It looks kind of like a succulent, but then it even has a very pretty flower to it. Sedum thrives in full sun, and it likes a very well-draining soil. They don't like too much water, so wherever you're going to plant them somewhere where not only does the soil drain, but also where they're not getting a ton of water. This drought-tolerant plant is so easy to take care of. Actually, it does not like too much fertilizer. So when we plant them today, we're not going to put any fertilizer in the planting holes. If you have a taller variety of sedum and you find that it's not blooming or that it's getting very tall and leggy, that can happen for a number of reasons. One reason is that you have it in too shady of an area. Another reason is it's getting too much water or too much fertilizer. And when I say fertilizer, it can just be the soil it's in. Maybe you have it in a very rich, very organic soil. If you do have tall, leggy sedum like I do here, there are a number of ways that you can fix the problem. One is to make sure they're getting the right amount of sun, the right amount of soil, and not too much water. These sedum came from another area of my yard that was very shady. I dug them up last year and I put these in my backyard plant nursery, which is not only a place where I sell plants, but it's also a place where I hold over plants as I think about where I want to put them in my landscape. While these plants were in my plant nursery, they were reaching for sun. They were not getting enough sun, so they did become a little leggy. Come next year, they'll be perfectly fine. So we're not going to do anything about it today. If you did have leggy sedum that you bought in the springtime, let's say, and you wanted to fix that problem, other than just placing it in the right location, another thing you can do is actually cut back your sedum. If you were to cut back your sedum in the early spring months, let's say by 1/2 or 1/3, the plant would appreciate it. You would have a much bushier plant. And a bonus tip is that sedum is super easy to propagate. With those cuttings, you could strip off the bottom leaves, you could just tuck the cuttings into soil or into potting mix, and within a few weeks, you would have rooted cuttings, which are basically free plants. And when I was looking closely at this sedum, I noticed that there was a little cut there. That probably means I took a cutting from it earlier in the season, and I just placed one of the cuttings in this pot here, which I'm sure has rooted by now. Since we're planting these in August, I don't want to cut them back. I want to enjoy whatever little blooms are on these plants, and next year they'll bounce back and look even better for us. Of the 3 sedum, I know the names of 2 of them. One is Autumn Joy, and the other one is Matrona. All 3 of these were dug up a number of years ago from my late mother-in-law's home, so I'm so happy to be putting them out in my landscape. Let's take a walk and I'm going to show you where these are going to get planted. We're on the north side of my house, and this flower bed is going to see a lot of change during the next many months. This area, if you can believe it, used to be full shade. We had a number of trees removed, and what has happened is what was once a full shade garden bed is actually now a full sun garden bed. So I figured with the sedum that I had, how lovely would they look if we put them towards the front of this space. There will be a lot of other perennials coming in here, and I'll definitely bring you along. But the goal for today is to get these sedum planted. This is the sedum that I'm not sure its name, so if you know, please let me know in the comments below. It doesn't get very tall, so we're going to be putting that towards the front of the flower bed. And then right behind them will end up being the Autumn Joy sedum. And on either side of the Autumn Joy sedum, and this is what I'm talking about, they look very lanky. And for this year, we're going to go with it. These are the Matrona sedum. And I just created a little bit of a pattern going down this way. The goal for this year is to get these plants in the ground, get them placed in a full sun location where they will thrive, and then we can always come in, we can divide, we can propagate, and we can move. So let's get planting, friends. If I was going to be planting these sedum during the spring months, I would definitely be coming in and cutting them back because they have become leggy. But like I mentioned earlier, I want to enjoy them, whatever they look like for this year. I want to get them planted, And then next year, we can focus more on them and any work that needs to be done. It may end up happening that we need to move them forward, backwards, a little left or right, and that's totally fine. The key is filling up this flower bed this year with plants that I know will do well in this space. So I've just gone ahead and removed the mulch because we have a nice layer of mulch here that we don't want to spoil. So what I'm noticing as I'm digging is there is drip irrigation, a line right here that probably goes up this way. So that may cause a problem for this sedum. We're going to have to monitor it and watch it. We can always make adjustments later because right now it is August and probably within the next month I'll be either turning off my irrigation or turning it down quite a bit. And as I took this plant out of the pot, it's not terribly pot bound or root bound, so I'm not going to disturb the roots. I'm just going to plant it as is. We can go ahead and backfill. The ground is already wet, so I don't need to put water in it. If you were planting your sedum in completely dry soil, just to get the plant established, you would want to make sure that you're putting water to it until the roots establish themselves. So I'm just backfilling and pressing down, and then I can go ahead and put my mulch back. I'm pressing the sides of my container pot just to loosen up the roots. And I'm noticing with these sedum as I'm planting them that I definitely took cuttings off of them in the springtime. So that's always a fun thing to do to get more free plants. I can go ahead and backfill and push down. And as I'm planting, again, when I see something like this and it's just kind of coming over this plant, there are things when we work in our gardens that we just have to let go, because if we try to tackle too many projects, too many tasks at once, I feel like the project can be overwhelming. So it's important to just stay focused on the task at hand. And today's task is to get these sedum in the ground. I'm very excited because I've never had this many flower beds that are part sun or full sun. There's so much opportunity that can happen. And you know what I mean if you have a garden like mine where it's a lot of shade and not a lot of sun. So all of a sudden, if you remove some trees and now you have a full sun bed, it's actually kind of exciting. I have a beautiful variegated sedum in another part of my yard that's in a shadier area. I'm not going to worry about it for this year. It's already in the ground. I'll worry about it next spring. I'd rather bring that also into this bed, which is more sun. I switched things up a little bit, and I'm just going to go over it with you. These shorter variety of sedum that I don't know the names, I ended up putting them in line with the other sedum. The way I look at it is, this will be the year that we plant them in the right area. We move them from the plant nursery, which was temporary, and we put them in a full sun location. And I think they're going to be so much happier here. And what will happen over time is we will see how they do, let's say next year. Next year will be their year that they just get bigger, and they'll probably just stay where they are. But then the year after, I might find that I do need to move some of these taller varieties of the sedum, like the Autumn Joy or the Matrona, a little bit back. But for right now, we might as well just get them packed into this space. I'd rather get them all in the right area, and then we can always move them around. After all, that's half the fun when it comes to gardening. And then when you hop over the rocks here, this is where I placed the rest of the sedum in the same pattern. I am so happy we got this done. I can't wait to see how this looks this year, but especially next year and the years going forward. I'm hoping this video inspired you in many ways. Maybe you have sedum in your yard and it's not doing well, and now you know why. Or maybe you were looking for some sort of late summer, early fall color. You weren't sure what to do. Sedum is a great choice for that. And if you have garden beds and you need some drought-tolerant plants, this is a perfect plant for that. I can't wait to continue working on what used to be a full shade but is now a full sun garden bed. I will definitely bring you along as I continue removing and adding plants from that space. Let me know in the comments below if you have sedum in your yard, and if so, what variety. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.